Hi, good evening. You are viewing Wisdom Keys for Focusing on Your Passion. LaunchPad Consultancy, in collaboration with VisionWorks Solutions, bring to you Book Club Conversation Series 3. In this series, entrepreneurs and professionals are reading the book, The Uncommon Dream 31 Wisdom Keys for Focusing on the Passion of Your Heart, written by author Mike Murdoch. I am your host, Alina Lewis, and today's discussion is centered around chapter 10, entitled The Uncommon Dream Will Require an Uncommon Mentor. Joining me for this discussion this evening is Natasha Rampasad, owner of Infinity Creations. So I just want to welcome Natasha. Hi, how are you?
Hi, Alina. I'm fine. Thank you.
Yes, excited as always to have you
Yes,
joining in with us. Uh,
very
but
excited.
even as we jump in, I want to talk, Natasha, about your reading for meaning. What tip are you using, or do you have to share as you share with the audience how they can read effectively for meaning? So, what's your reading for meaning tip?
One of my favorite reading tips is um, be ready, be armed, I would say, with a pen or a pencil so that you can jot down notes, you can circle some stuff, things that really stand out to you, things you want to memorize, underline it, put a star next to it or a smiley face, something to make it pop out at you. Because when you do that, it imprints an image in your memory. And that's one of my most helpful ways for reading.
Definitely. And I too want to encourage viewers that when you read every word in every sentence. We as adults have become so accustomed to speed reading and scanning and browsing that sometimes we forget how to just sit and read, like literally read every word one after the other, every sentence one after the other, because we
Yeah.
miss so much. Because sometimes the speed of the day that we're accustomed to applying, we bring into our reading, but we rob ourselves of great value when we do this. So definitely reading every word in every sentence and every
Definitely.
sentence in every paragraph can definitely help increase the meaning that we're able to pull out of our reading. So,
Yeah.
Natasha, we are in chapter 10. What stands out to you in chapter 10?
In chapter 10, what really stands out to me is the way he explained the difference of how we gain wisdom in life. And he spoke about that when he mentioned two ways to receive wisdom from either our mistakes or our mentors. And as I was reading it, he said experience is God's way of teaching fools who are not willing to sit at the foot of a mentor or take advice. And that really stood out to me because it made me sit down and remember many times where I personally had to go through many experiences, some of them repeatedly. But
Yeah.
thankfully, I learned and I don't have to repeat those mistakes again. So that difference there of two ways we can receive wisdom from either our mistakes or our mentors.
Yes. And even before we go deeper into the conversation, I don't know if it would be different for you, but I want to touch on the power quote. The thing that you read in the book that stands out to you the absolute most. So, what is your power quote, Natasha, from chapter 10?
My power quote in chapter 10 is this: when you discover your dream, it is only then you will recognize the mentor worthy of the
Oh,
space. That
yeah.
really stood out to me because it sort of identifies when you really have 100% found your passion, your dream, your assignments, as he calls it. And only when you see it clearly, then either the mentor appears or are now able to clearly identify who your mentor should be. So that was really helpful to
Yeah,
me.
definitely. And even when I started the chapter, I highlighted the very first sentence of the chapter. And the very first sentence says, "You cannot succeed alone." And in today's world, in so many instances, emphasis is placed on my grind, hustling, doing it on my own, standing alone. I'm a this, I'm a that. All about the I. But I love the fact that the author Mike Murdoch started off with a bang. You cannot succeed alone. And as the days have been passing by, and I've been having conversations with different persons, one of the things that have come out is the
Yes.
importance of connecting, finding that circle, finding that those like-minded individuals. And even here, as we talk
Yes.
about the uncommon dream
Mhm.
requiring an uncommon mentor, it tells us why. It says mentorship is the transference of wisdom. And I'm interested to find out
Yes.
if you're able to share, Natasha, what has been your experience with mentorship and submitting to mentorship as that experience of transferring of wisdom? Is it something that you have found challenging? Is it something that has been easy for you to slip into? Can you share anything in terms of your experience so it would help persons who would be watching this video understand how they could gauge even their own experiences?
Yes, sure. My experience with mentorship mostly has been in the area of me being a member of a church. So I would have looked up to my leaders, my pastor, as a mentor. So in that sense, I would have been taking notes. I would listen to sermons. I would listen to stories. I would observe things, decisions they would make, and things they would do, the way they respond to situations. So it's another way that we can participate in mentorship, not really one on one, but from the outside observing in, but you observe objectively and you observe every aspect to learn lessons, and I applied those lessons to my life. So that was one, and it still is in a great sense, one of the ways that I have my pastors and my leaders in that setting as mentors. As it relates to my art, personally, I have found it challenging to find a mentor in my personal style of art. But in terms of the skills and the technical aspects of it, I've looked up to many artists who are well established. Even on Google and YouTube, I research different artists, different styles, different mediums, and I would listen to whatever they present. I would look at the art shows and I would glean and I would learn from them in this sense. Because I know they are the forefront, they are the leaders in this area that I am pursuing. So I follow them and whatever they have to present and share, I take whatever I can in that sense from them. So in that mentorship sense, in my art and my business, that is one way that I follow mentorship there.
Yeah. In the book, Natasha, they mentioned, Mike Murdoch, he mentions that even in your journey, encouragers are vital. And sometimes many people, they feel very much alone in their journey. So my question to you is, how do you connect with encouragers? How do you find these encouragers? What's your strategy?
One way to find encouragers is to be open and to just share, not always, the whole aspect of your dream, but, just make friends, make connections. Sometimes it may not be for something that you would want, but if you intentionally look for a way to just say hi or brighten up somebody's day and you make that connection, it's a really effective way to keep that relationship, to make new friends. And that is one way. that you get encouragers in your circle. So that's something.
Yeah. And another significant thing that I found that Mike Murdoch spoke about has to do with reaching for your mentors. And the gist of it is that he was saying that you can't just sit and wait for people to come reach out to you. You have to reach for your mentors. You have to position
Yes.
yourself to be mentored. My
Yeah.
question to you is as you have considered your reach for mentors, how do you know that you're reaching out to the right people or person to be that mentor to you?
Well, what I have realized and what I also read from his book is that you need to find a mentor who will not, well, a person who is willing to not just encourage you for everything. You need to have a mentor who will be able to identify your flaws, your weak areas. Because of their experience and their wisdom, they will be able to foresee possible pitfalls in the future, people, relationships that you may make that may not be healthy for your dream, for your business. And this is one way that we need to connect with the mentors, and this is how we receive from them by listening to all these different areas. So being open to what they have to say, and it's not always to pull you down or to criticize. So a mentor would, yes, they would point out these negative things, but the purpose behind it is to lift you up and to make and to improve what you are doing. And essentially, the end goal is success, your success. It's not their success, it's your success. And they believe in your dream and they believe in your potential. And they see where you are weak and they strengthen you in those areas. And they would be able now to teach you in a sense. It's like training. I think of mentorship like training wheels, so that they teach you how to ride, how to take the bends, the curves, how to go through a bump, those things, so that eventually you come off training wheels and then you're able to ride on your own.
Yeah,
So
and of course, too, as a mentee, one has to be mindful to be willing to take instruction, to be
yes,
willing to take correction, because
yes,
those are the moments where if pride and ego are unchecked,
mhm,
you could not receive from the mentor, you could not receive from the
yes,
person who is there to support, because of course the mentor isn't just there to celebrate you and cheer you on and tell you things you want to hear, but they're
yeah,
there to help guide you and steer you
mhm,
and show you where you have areas of challenges, show you where things could be improved. And
yeah,
sometimes, feelings, we're human, feelings could get involved. We could feel a certain kind of way, but
yeah,
just encourage persons when seeking out mentorship or being open to mentorship, we also have to be open to correction. And
yes,
correction is not necessarily insult or
no,
being put down, but it's being encouraged to be built
yes,
up. Because a mentor isn't there to
mhm,
point fingers and say, look at all you're doing wrong, but they're there to say, hey, look at this area.
yeah,
This is how you could improve. This is what you should consider. If you go
mhm,
to the left, this is what could happen. If you go to the right,
yep,
that would be the outcome. Make an informed decision. And that's what a mentor, a coach is there to help you
yep,
to do and to become. So
yeah,
even as we wind down on this chat
mhm,
about mentorship, can you take a moment, Natasha, and share with persons viewing about Infinity Creations and what Infinity Creations is all about, so persons can understand what your business is about and the service that you provide?
sure, thank you. The Infinity Creations is a prophetic art business, and the vision of Infinity Creations is to train and activate and equip people to realize their artistic talents and abilities that God has given them. But even more than that, to be able to use these gifts and skills and talents to be able to not only improve themselves, but the people around them. And we also offer services of fine art and portraits and various other arts and craft skills. But the main vision, the core dream of Infinity Creations is to really help and train and activate other creative minded artistic people who really have a heart to also positively affect people around them.
Definitely. Thank you so much for joining in with me, Natasha, and to the
You're
viewing
welcome.
audience. Yes, thank you. We will see you tomorrow for another book club conversation.